What is up, my dudes? Today we have a Mercedes. This is the second stream of today. What the heck is going on? That's crazy. We have a Mercedes CLA 250. We're going to be doing carbon on the full thing. We're going to be doing 50, 20, and 5. So it's going to look dope. I got to text the client. Let's see if I can do this. I gotta find where's my stream? Oh, YouTube, you're so nice now. You're actually showing me where my streams are. Thank you. That makes it easier to do this. Another car. No. Which one? Oh, wait. I know where to find it. There we go. Link to the stream. Good deal. Yeah, look at that. We got 2 for 1. What is going on? That's crazy. We don't do that here. We don't do 2 streams in a day. Well, sometimes we do. When things go well, we can do that. So, this was actually the one that I was planning on streaming, and then I just kind of happened to stream the first one too along with it. So, I'm really glad that I did the first one because we don't get too many ceramic windshields, but when we do, we gotta make them pretty sweet. Back again. Watch the live with the Avalon. Now this one, I know. We got some hype in the chat. It's great to see. I did a GLE 485 AMG yesterday. I was nervous the whole time. I did. What's it? You know, what is the GLE? I did a AMG. Oh, that's the. Ooh, I like that one. Look at this. Oh, dang. This is like that BMW. Oh, dang. Look at that. Oh, that's sweet. Is that what that was? Or is it more like this? Oh, no, that is the same thing, right? Just a picture? Or maybe that was a concept. Ha, that's cool. Anything AMG is special. Like the X6, exactly. Yep. That's what I was thinking of. That looks sweet. I saw the X6 the other day. I was like, this isn't practical, but I like it. Big old car-ish, but with not as much space in the back. But it looks dope. All right, so let me change this. So he is waiting on this, so I don't want to take up too much extra time. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into things. But we're pretty much all prepped. We're pretty much all set. I still got a fair amount of coffee from earlier too, so we're real good. Talked to a shop owner, he said GeoShield fades. I bet his film fades. What film does he have? Everybody has their opinions. Talk is cheap, though. Chase Bank put a hold on my business account. No super chats for me today. Dang! Oh, that was... Kendall, that was... man, that was funny. I still remember the one from the boat. Dang. Time to find a new bank. Is there any tint that is like 0 looking in and 100 looking out? No. No, tint is actually the same both ways. You can get like a mirrored effect, and that'll be easier to see out of. But no, there's nothing that's gonna do that for you. That's like the dream for everybody, but no. Tint works because the inside of the cabin is dark, and all the your light source is from the outside. So if it was reversed, you wouldn't be able to see out, if that makes sense. Super chats are a tax write-off? I don't believe so. I think they're still normally taxable. Because it's not like, I've heard discussions on this. They're not actually donations. They're tips, and tips are taxable. So YouTube takes their tax off of that, right? And then you have your regular income taxes too. So yeah, there's something with everything. Definitely no fun, but that's the way it is. Oh dang, big volume spike on GME 180. Dang, look at it. Look at this. It did another one of these where they take it down in the morning, and then it just did this slow climb all day now. I didn't think it was going to be an exciting day today, but look at that. Big volume spike into 180 right now. We'll see if they take it to the moon today. And this could be the moon stream. Never used Solar Guard? Solar Guard, I don't really have much bad to say about Solar Guard. Just their films are generally thin. So they have a lot of 1 mil films, but I didn't like the feel of it. That's just most of the Solar Guard films. They have Galaxy, which is a thicker film. And then they have whatever their other ones are. And they feel like tissue paper. But I will say, the glass shop, they actually wanted me to use Solar Guard. And then we weren't using them at the time. And I didn't really like how thin they felt. But he hasn't had long-term comebacks from Solar Guard. So, if he did, I'd have a lot of problems right now. I used the software, and they didn't like the fact that I didn't use the film. That is super common. It's like the second most talked about software is Computer Cut. And again, they start to crack down on software. So if you use their software without their film, they start to get all butthurt. What is up with companies in that? It gets annoying. Make better film then. Make a film people want to use. Don't just get mad at me. I stopped being a Solar Guard dealer. Now I'm an Autobahn. I've heard of Autobahn. I haven't ever used them. I finally perfected reverse rolling. My man, that is awesome to hear. It's one of those weird things. Reverse rolling for me, it's like you either learned how to do it or you learned how to just carry in windshields and stuff like that. So picking it up later, it's well worth it if you haven't done it. And I didn't want to have to reverse roll, but I'm very happy I learned to as well. Where are we at? We got to keep an eye. 180, almost 181. Interesting. Dang. So these, it looks like this one didn't get tripped. So these are all frameless, much like the Tesla, except they have a little back end on them for tucking that rear side and the front side on these. They're not completely exposed. They're like halfway there, right? Because you got this edge and you got that edge. And then this is enclosed, that's enclosed. If the bottom wasn't enclosed, then it'd just be weird. Sounds like a Tesla thing. So we're doing the full windshield on this. We were originally scheduled, I think, for ceramic. But what I like about carbon is it gives you a little bit more for your money, too. So we would have been a little bit pricey with the full car and the full windshield. You want to add a full windshield. So we've switched to carbon on this one, and it'll be real nice. Gonna be a good stream, boys. So again, we're doing 50 on the windshield, 20 on the front doors, and 5 on the back. I'm saying that to also remind myself, because I don't ever forget what shades I'm doing. I don't ever forget that. Yes, I do. Any advice to start up a tint shop? I have a little bit of advice now, because I've managed to somewhat do it. The beginning is real slow. So you can advertise, but you can get a lot of people in the very beginning they don't know you. So they're pretty much just calling around for price, and you'll be like one of 5 other shops that they quote. So try and stand out any other way that you potentially can. Any type of previous media introduction is super handy. So like if you made videos or like make videos or just do something to help you explain what it is you do and why you do it. You know, different films, this or that, why you use what you use. Show the process, like anything. Because most people don't. Most people take pretty pictures, they'll tag them, and they'll quote a price. And that's that. So try and stand out. One of the ways that I stand out here, obviously, is I've been doing a lot of live streams now. So actually what's been cool is when somebody is interested in tint for their car, they'll search their car with tint. And then so it's a good way to actually capture some potential leads. It's not all my business. It's actually not a good majority of my business, but it does help. That is going to be a big problem if we don't take care of that. All right. I should have used a towel instead, but I tried just squeegeeing that line. Let me wipe that off first. And we don't have the patience to wait for this one, so we're going to sacrifice it. But anyways, so another thing is just try to try to make something work. So you don't have to just jump into a shop. Try and build clients up one way, so that if you're like interested in tinting, or if you're getting into the business and you're just even tinting out of your home garage is a great way to start building up clients. And then decide if you want to jump into the shop, because day one you're going to make a shop and it's going to look all pretty and nice and stuff. You are not going to be busy. Takes time. So now I'm starting to get a lot of calls, but I'm also not necessarily people's first option, because people just get on their phones and they search window tint and then they start calling around. Or they already have a shop that they go to. So as far as people are concerned, I'm the newer guy on the block or just another tint shop. So you have to do what you can to stand out. Like strap a GoPro to your head and say, let's do this. So we're going to be prepping little bits of the windshield and the back glass before we get started on the doors. Both of those will have a chance to dry before we throw some film on them. I got some film and I tried to tint my windows like you do in your how-to videos, and I have a lot of respect for it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, it's one of those things where you wouldn't necessarily know how difficult it is until you try it for yourself. There we go. That's what we want to see. See, now there's no, we're locked up there. So there's going to be two little ways to either latch these. So you either latch the door there, or there'll be a little push button right there. Most of them have latches there. Is frameless hard to do? No. They're generally a little bit easier. The cutting part can be a little tricky because you want to be real close. But, yeah, they're not too bad. So what do we need? 5? The small vent's hard to do. The small vent is definitely the more tricky of the bunch. I'll agree with you on that. So, yeah. Hard edge here. So we'll do what we can for that. Stay tuned. Oh, this back window. We gotta do that back window. Pro Classic? No, we are carbon today. I'm gonna get the tin on there because I want to learn and master it. Very cool. Good luck. It is a well worthwhile skill to learn. A lot of frustration to get there, so lots of little things. Super fun to work through. Alright, how do we want to tackle these? Do we want to go individual or can we double cut? I think we'll probably, I think we might do individual. Do I remove the seals? No, I'm gonna leave them in. So a lot of frameless are just 2 doors, not necessarily 4. So there are differences though between one window and the other side. Small ones, but there are differences. So taking the time to single cut them in an instance like this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that one's totally up to you. Hopefully this isn't a mistake. I gotta prep that back window though real quick. I keep forgetting about it because we did the windshield. Very short windows too. Don't close the doors? Yeah, that'd be a bad idea. We latched them so they wouldn't let us. Every once in a while I'll latch it. That's why I typically don't latch regular windows to even get rid of that dinging sound for the stream. Because I just, I'll either keep the door closed or I'll forget it's latched. Because if I latch it when it's open, then I'll forget, and you close it, and it's like, ugh, that big, that not fun sound. Thud. So this back window is really straightforward too. A lot of this car is very straightforward. The only thing I'm not sure of what to do yet is this windshield. Because the windshield, I'm going to try and cover those up. It's got these weird little dip cutouts. I'm assuming it's for like lining up the windshield during like installation or something. But it's kind of funny. They're like really long. So it would look weird if it's not tinted. So we're going to try and tint it. So you have these like lines right here. So the dot matrix just goes straight across. But then there's this gap and then it just like zoop. Right like that. So we'll maybe cut a couple little things to go down that far. We like straightforward? Oh, dude, we live on straightforward. That's our bread and butter. Yeah, like you guys see a lot. We get a lot of new car leases and, you know, mid-tier leases, I think, a lot of the time. So it's like, you know, you get anywhere from like budget to mid-tier. We get nicer cars too, don't get me wrong, but as far as just like the majority of what comes in, you will get like Malibus, Impalas, Chargers, 300s, your mixed match of like F-150s, Rams, Silverados. So it's like we're not doing Ferraris every day, right? Have you tried Fusion Epic Orange Adhesive Remover? Yeah, and I'm not as big of a fan of it. It's for, I don't want to say this for sure, but I think it's for flat glass. It's for a particular type of adhesive that I think is more prominent in flat. So it'll work on auto to some extent, but it wasn't as good as ATR. All right, so now that'll dry. We can work on the doors. Windshield's prepped. We can move along. It actually dried pretty quickly too. I think it's already dried. Yeah, so it all depends on where you live, what your price range is too, because I'll tell you, the lower your prices are, the more early 2000s and before cars you're going to get. That's just how it goes. What's your daily driver? That guy right there. That I bought in like fall of 15. I bought that as my toolbox because that was what I was using for mobile. It's fun to buy a vehicle and consider it your toolbox. Although it's not so fun when it gets all dirty and you don't feel like cleaning it. This is 20, right? Let me double check. I just want to double check on this. Make sure I didn't swap a roll or something. We got a lot of light colors, so that's going to make my 20 feel a little bit lighter. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Somehow it just felt like 35 for a minute, but it's definitely not. It's just all the light colors. Tips on being mobile? Don't go from house to house necessarily. Go from shop to shop. That's what I would suggest. There's a lot of logistics in going to people's houses. A lot of people don't have garages. A lot of people say they have a garage and then there's no space in it. Up in the colder states, wintertime's a hell of a fun time trying to find a warm garage too, because most people think a heated garage means that it's either attached to the house or putting a space heater in there is perfectly acceptable. So you can do it, it's just not fun. Mobile for me was tinting, going into a shop for a day. They book up my day. I don't talk to the customers necessarily because they handle all the clients, all the payments, book all the jobs. They keep me busy. I show up with my film. I tint all the cars, and then I leave. So I did that for like 5 years. And there's still one that I handle that I got to replace myself because they're good people. What state? Good old Michigan. Good old Michigan. It's cold here for way too long. Today's like our second warm day. Here, let me... Yeah. I have a boss that likes to load me up with cars all day and likes to stay at home. Yeah, welcome to most owners. You know, the best shops that I ran across had the owner's direct involvement on a daily basis. It really did. There were some really shit companies, and most of the time the owners weren't involved very much. They just like yelled at people for problems, and that was about it. The ones that are actually in there, kind of helping out, not necessarily doing the work, but like being a part of the thing, and like understanding their business, those are generally the best run businesses. Lunchtime stream! Will you ever go back to work for shops? Not really. It makes good money. You never grow your own reputation, though. And as soon as you stop tinting, you stop making money. So it's a hard long-term thing. It's great for a time, but eventually you have to like figure out how to grow up. In a sense, like you need some sort of long-term plan. So if this company is growing and gives you growth opportunities that involve like some type of way to retire, then that's definitely better. I was gonna work for a guy, but he was gonna make me sign a non-compete. Ew. They've tried that here. I think more often than not, it's very hard to enforce something like that, and I'd be surprised how many are actually going to enforce a non-compete if they do. But it also gives you a general spirit for like how they are as a company. I don't necessarily blame them, but it's a lot to like if they're teaching you, it's a lot to put into somebody to teach you, and then have you run off. I've seen that happen a lot of times. They don't necessarily contribute to that not happening. People ask me how to start their own shops all the time. I understand it a lot more now. The people that started with their own shop, they just they just did it. If you can develop some sort of a local reputation where you have people calling you for window tint, where is my stool? Then it's really easy to grow into a shop. If you're working for a shop, nobody knows you. How much to tint this car? $450. We were gonna do $450 for the ceramic, but that didn't include a windshield. So we have added a full windshield. Because it'll look cooler with the full windshield. Who doesn't want to do the full windshield? I got my tints at a shop that doesn't do, or that does pre-cuts. That depends on the software that they use. So, if you have a good tint job, then there's nothing wrong with it. So the main difference with the plotted patterns is software, like the way that they got the patterns into the software is like somebody cut them out and then they sent them to a plotter company or the software company, and then they scanned them and made them available for people to cut out on their plotters. So as long as the patterns are good, the tint's great. But if the patterns aren't great, if they look like they're short or something, that's where they drive me crazy. What was that? So when I live stream using only my phone, the Quick app and the Hero 8, the stream will shut off after about an hour. I was able to stream for 5 hours using my laptop, OBS. And Mono server. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised that it cut off after an hour. It shouldn't be doing that. Well, like if you're streaming directly to like YouTube or something, then you should be fine. There shouldn't be a limit. I'd be surprised if there's a limit on a GoPro. But yeah, RTMP, it'll just keep going till the battery dies. Could be some sort of weird software restriction, though. I don't know. I work at a dealership. Should my goal be to open up my own thing? Well, it's very individual, but I wouldn't make working at a dealership my long-term goal unless there was like some sort of significant like benefit with growing with the company. Because a lot of people, the employees are expendable. At a lot of businesses, they treat you as an expendable asset. I mean, you can't necessarily blame them because they're a business and they need to continue to run their business and they shouldn't be beholden to one person. But you as an individual, you need some sort of like long-term thing because you're gonna grow up. So if you're always just an employee, most shops don't have any type of retirement plan. Most shops aren't making that kind of income either. Well, not necessarily the income, but most of them don't look at it that way, right? It's like you have a job, I pay the guy to do the job, and then he makes X amount of that job, or hourly or whatever, right? That all costs money. So if he's not doing the work, I'm not making the money off of the guy. So you got to figure out how to set that up yourself too. So I actually cut these pretty low. So we might have to redo this one depending on how much of a pain this is, but I'm hoping it's not too bad. I was just trying to give these a real run for their money. But if you don't pull out the seals, it definitely makes it harder to tuck. But carbon, this carbon likes to slide a little bit easier than some, so we might get it. Oh hey, looks like we got it. Whew, that was fun. I mean, starting your own tint business is a tough thing too, right? Because eventually you can't tint. So you're going to need employees that are going to look at it the same way. It's like you got to that's why like if you're opening up like a shop, you got to look at this like what other services can you bring in and how can you improve your company as a whole to make it appealing for other people too. Do you ever do a windshield and dye? Oh, all the time. There's tons of people that go for just looks. Dealerships usually offer enough work and job security. Yeah, like you'll be good, but the question is just like long term. So I mean, like I'm not telling anybody to not go tint at dealerships if they're, if you're happy tinting at a dealership. Yeah, they'll keep you busy. The question is just like, 15, 20 years from now, what's that look like? And that's kind of what you have to keep in the back of your head. Don't get freaked out now. A lot of people have time. So it's just think about it and figure out where you want to be eventually. And just don't rush. I mean, I been tinting for, we gotta figure that out. How long have I been tinting for? Let's just say 13 years, right? 13 years, I think, this summer. I didn't want to shop, but I didn't know what that would look like. And I've been, like, we just opened up our own place. I've been tinting for that long without opening up my own place. So you got plenty of time to develop your skill, learn the industry, figure things out. And then, you know, everything will be fine until self-driving cars puts us out of business anyways. There. Have a good night. Bye. Dang. Okay, cool. This turned out pretty good. So I do that bottom loading with the shank without taking it apart on frameless doors. But that's only on frameless doors. I don't do that on other ones. Oh, why did I throw that out? What was that? In 15 years, I want to help Maddie B schedule hovercrafts for the studio. Today, we're going to tint a hovercraft while it's on, blowing dust all over my shop. Sounds good, man. Oh, did we not cut out the back doors? We didn't cut out the back doors. I'm getting all ready to install them. I don't even have them cut. Thankfully, buildings, unless we get self-moving buildings, right? True. It's actually like very economical for them to get tint, so a lot of them get it for those reasons. It saves a lot of energy. Oh, I did see this thing though, where the low E windows were as competitive as window tint. So there is that. You do have window upgrades, but privacy and other things. Reflecting it away. Buildings are good at that. They can reflect it away. Cars, you could, but you're more likely to get a ticket for it. There's something with every industry. Every industry has its drawbacks. Imagine tinting a yacht. Yeah, man. People do it. People do it a lot. All those boats gotta have tint. I've only done one. It was, man, that was a fun experience too, because I got to kind of just chill out on the boat and work at the same time. But the whole thing, it had Lumar ATC, like going back like 8 or 9 years on the water. It all turned purple eventually. And then we were a Lumar dealer, so they wanted it redone in the same film, so I had to strip all that and retint it. Hurricane windows. Or hurricane film for yeah, that'll do it. Until it's everybody just bulletproof windows, right? Tesla. Bulletproof glass. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to put fear into every industry. Bulletproof windows, yes. Okay. Tinted an armor truck? No, I did have somebody come in with bulletproof glass. I tried sticking film to it and it just wasn't having it. It was scheduled as a regular Yukon. And then I opened the door and I was like, oh God, this is not a regular Yukon. He's like, oh yeah, it's bulletproof, but it'll be fine. And I'm like, what do you mean it'll be fine? It'll be fine. It's fine. Just do it. It's fine. It's like, well, can I look at it? Because you say it's fine. But we'll see. Oh God, that was a heavy thing. iPhone screens? Oh man, I missed the little story about the screen protectors. The glass ones far better than the film ones. But so what happened was when PPF was really new. Yeah, like I was playing around with Tint Tech, and then I was actually trying to measure out an iPhone so I could cut out a screen protector with the film. And Zag was like the popular company at the time, but they hadn't been around for all that long. Turns out one of the owners of, no, it was somebody at 44 was actually working with the guys that went on to create Zag, and he missed that boat. And I was like, if I didn't realize how much money there would have been if I went down that road a little farther. I was like dabbling in it, and then I just like didn't have the savvy to get all the cutouts for it. Like I wasn't taking phones and measuring them and putting them in software and trying to sell them. But I was playing around with it in the shop out of boredom. I didn't realize how close I was to all that. All right, do we gotta trim this anymore? No, looking pretty good. We could probably trim this off a little more. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Small quarter windows are killing me. Sounds like, would you rather tint one horse-sized quarter or 100 quarter-size, what? How's that go? Take the one big one. Yeah, small quarters aren't fun, for sure. Without the borders. If they have borders, they're a breeze. If they have no borders, the gasket borders, they suck. Where'd you get the sprayer for the nozzle? Or the nozzle for the sprayer? I guess that makes more sense right there. Say it like that. It's Tint Keg at sundistributingdirect.com. They don't sponsor, but you should totally tell them to put Tint Keg up as a sponsor. You use them enough. But that's why they don't. Because they already see me using it. And they're like, see? Yep, we don't. But yeah, you can get these. They're like, I think they're like 60. Well worth it. You'll break 10 plastic nozzles in the time you'll break a brass sprayer. Brass sprayers are so much better. Ew. Ew. We need a razor blade. There's some adhesive on that one. No good. We don't like it. We don't like it. How's GME doing? It was starting to go up, but I'm scared to look at it because that'll make it go back down. Or it started going up when I started streaming. Or stopped streaming, so maybe it's that. We going to the moon? Or is it sitting around like 175 to 180? hovering around 180. Okay. All right, cool. Sounds about right. That's still pretty strong. We should do a poll of the best minivans. Oh, that brings up a good story. So, I had this idea. I totally forgot about them. But I was like, oh, shit, I know something that's really comfy. A Lincoln. Dude, the Lincolns that I have tinted lately, they look much better, and they are super comfy. And I was like, instead of the minivan, maybe we just get a Lincoln. And then I was seeing what was available, and there was either the Nautilus or not the full big one, but the one down from that. Corsair or something? It was either the Corsair or the Nautilus. The Nautilus. But we were looking at the seating arrangements in the back, and there's always a little center console thing in the back. And I'm like, what the heck? I thought that was like Compromise City right there. Doesn't look like it. And then we looked up a video of the Pacifica, and I was like, and then they have the seats that fold into the floor, and then the vacuum, and then there's the aisle in the middle, and I'm just like, fuck, I can't compete. I can't compete. So, I don't know. If you guys could find me something better, that'd be great. Dude, the Lincoln seats are so comfy, though. I pull them around for usually just front doors. The new Kia Carnival. It's not as nice as what I was hoping. So the Kia Carnival, almost. The few things where it drops off. Okay, so my wife's got 2 requirements. Lincoln is a Ford. I know that. You guys. Hang on one second. Let me tuck this in. I think we might have went just a smidge too far on this. I thought we were a little far, but not that far. Okay. So the problem with the Carnival is the aisleway in the middle is real small. And it actually is kind of smaller all around. So it's more of like a bench. There isn't really much of an aisle in the middle. She wants, this is her requirements. She wants clear aisleway in the middle and space to change the baby. So the baby, 2 captain's chairs, an aisle in the middle, and if there's extra features in there, like the Pacifica, it's got a family cam situation. How do you compete with stuff like that? We have the little mirror thingies. You gotta point it back as a baby, but it's not like a family cam. So you see what I mean? See what I'm trying to compete with? I'm trying, but I know when I'm beat. It's why you guys should appreciate how I talk about window tint. It's like, if there's something that's clearly better, I just this is better than this. I'm pretty unbiased. I just want something that works better, but slightly partial towards the Buick for sure for the comfort. But at the end of the day, if she's not on board with it, then it just all falls apart too. So I know what has to be done to make it work. Okay, so we went a little far on, oh wow, it's still wiggling. Maybe we're okay. Maybe we can shift it just a smidge. God, this stuff really slides. sometimes when you want it to, which is nice. Okay, so we went like a little far into the seal. On the next one, we won't cut it as deep. We went plenty far down on the bottom, but that was really what was giving me the biggest headache here. So we went just a little far in. But all our spots are covered, so good deal. No, this is 20. This isn't 5. Have you ever really struggled with the window? Oh, for sure. Watch the Lexus stream that we did not too long ago. I think I redid that quarter window 4 times. That was the most recent one that I remember. Definitely stuff more than once. And oh my God, did we just make that windshield mistake on this one? I sure hope not. No. No. Oh, no. You gotta be kidding me. Sad. Sad. I just talked about this earlier on a windshield. Everything will go great. You go a little too fast sometimes. Cut short. Get a little carried away. I didn't realize how much it was propped up. So we're about an inch short. The Kia Telluride. That's got a lot to it. That might be interesting. It's definitely got a lot to it. I should look a little bit more into it. So we got to make sure that our edges is covered. There we go. Save that piece for a rainy day, though. Try to flip it. It might have covered. I didn't feel like trying, though. It seems to me that it's not, but sometimes they're a little bit. Tahoe? Tahoe's nice. It's big. Wanted something that's not like super big and boxy. Wanted more like a, I don't want to say just a straight up minivan style, but like what I liked about the Buick, it seemed like a nice in-between. Just the seating was messed up. The Telluride might be okay. What a weird name, though, for a vehicle. Where do you get your film from? From Geo. This is 5. We're doing 5 on the back. So one reason we cut this out without finishing the doors is so I could get this right here. Waiting list for the Telluride? Oh, there's... Yeah, that makes sense. ...2021 Sienna. I could see that one, too. That's kind of right in line with the Pacifica, then. Might be better on reliability. But we were trying to avoid the minivan category altogether if we can. I don't think so. Plus, they're cheaper, too. Like, whatever I get as far as the other stuff goes, it's like it'd just be way more expensive unnecessarily. She doesn't need something that's, like, very expensive, just more practical for the baby than a Blazer. I'm sure everything's going to be kind of hard to get right now. Whatever you do, don't buy a Chrysler product. You know, that is a fair point. They're not exactly known for long-term quality. So the sienna might be a good reason for that right there. I tried tinting my windows and failed miserably. You have a gift. I have a lot of patience. Any tinter has a lot of patience to learn it. I didn't start knowing how to do this. I fucked up plenty of times. It's just lots of patience and practice will get you there. Lots of suggestions right now. Highlander. Might be interesting. I'm not overly fond of the styling of like Toyota. Maybe we'll get an X6. No, that's gonna have the bench. Dang it. So the third row doesn't need to necessarily be very big. Palisade. I'll look it up. I'll try and make a note of it. That's good. Because I don't know exactly what it is. Everybody overlooks it. I know I've heard of it. I just can't put quite a vehicle to the name. I know it's Hyundai. I just forgot. Hyundai. Okay. So these quarter windows Telluride competitor. Oh, yeah, I did see that comparison. Okay, so these ones, back to tinning for a minute. I don't necessarily have a great way to do these. But what I'm going to try and do is free up just a little bit of space here. That's probably as good as you can get it. So it is actually a harder rubber edge here, not a plastic. So that'll help at least free up just a little bit of room so you can slide it over. Pilot's basic. Yeah. I go back and forth. It's like, how much do I actually want to spend? And if I really liked it, I'd spend more. But if I only kind of like it, then I'll probably cheap out on it. Unless there's some, like, kick-ass life-changing feature. Like a vacuum. Which they have. So that was like, oh, we would use the vacuum. Okay, so you got all the room in the world to talk. As long as you can get it sliding, right? So we want to get this close. Yeah, that's why I never got like a Honda or Toyota for my own daily driver. They had a similar amount of space to the Explorer. The Odyssey has a vacuum? Yeah. Yeah, they do. I hadn't looked at anything in minivan land, and then I was like, oh wow, that's cool. Actually practical stuff. Explorer would actually tick a lot of those bells because it has the split seating, so you could get two captain's chairs with space in the middle. But when we saw the stowaway seating, of the Pacifica, that was kind of like, put that seat in. Just get a Bronco. I don't think I really even like the Bronco. Dang it, we're like slightly over here. So hard to cut on that edge. Just need to trim just a hair off. Almost there. No, we're like right on the edge. Dang it. The Bronco is not a very good looking vehicle, I agree. It's just got the Bronco history. And like, it's the new competitor to the Wrangler, right? I'm not a Wrangler fan, though, so. Cool. Looking good. Yeah, those quarters definitely take just a little bit longer. I should have rounded this just a little bit more, but I thought bringing it down, my blade probably popped up a little bit, making that edge a little bit higher, so we finished it off on the inside. What do you think of the new Hummer? Oh, is that the EV Hummer? Why do electric vehicle makers make them absurd? Why don't they just make a cool electric vehicle? They all have to go over the top. I think the Mustang Mach-E is probably the coolest looking one, but then the interior, they just put the oversized Tesla screen on there, just like. Every other automaker's like, oh yeah, we gotta go outrageous. Like, do you guys see that like, this has been out for a while, but that BMW, like, i3, the Prius, like, any of those things. Like, let's just make it look dumb. Why? I feel like they gotta make a statement. It's like, no, just make an electric car. VW Atlas. VW is a brand I never think of. I should make a list. I don't think I've ever seen an Atlas. I haven't tinted one. I don't get very many, I get like VW Passats. I get Passats, the Golfs, the Jettas. But it's a brand I always forget about. The Passats are fast. Oh no, the Prius are fast. Yeah, but they're dumb looking. Ooh! It's the same measurement as a Traverse, but it's got bigger room on the interior and captain's chairs. Dang, we're ticking some boxes now. Shit, what was it called? I forgot. I'll look. All I have to do is look at VW2, but. Look at that. Atlas, that's right. We got some dental floss. Swing. Swing, swing, bada bing. Ooh, test driving. I gotta make time for that too. Because when I went into the Blazer, it's like I knew I wanted it. So it was like, you can test drive it. And then he's just like, well, you want this one? I was like, yeah. Then I just like, 3 hours later, I drove off the lot with it. So I'm a little nervous of that. Whatever I go to see, they're like, well, we got this one here. I'm like, all right, I guess that's the one I'm getting. But they happen to have the color that I wanted. So when I got the Blazer, I was looking specifically for a white one with all the black accents on it, with leather on the inside. And they had like a red line edition, which looked pretty cool with some upgrades. You guys maybe found a contender. We should check it out. We should stop tinning and look at cars. Do we have a VW salesman in chat? Is that what's going on? I'm kidding. But it's like the panoramic is great in there too as well. And I'm like, oh really? Then we find out it's just like VW's been watching this whole time and they'll be like, got him. Sniped. It's 2 o'clock. Ooh. They don't have green glass in it, do they? That's interesting. It looks good. It's not amazing. Kind of reminds me of the Explorer, and like you said, with the interior. Whoa. Look at that. Search term, captain's chairs, right there. Oh, dang. Look at that aisle space. Look at this guy. He's like, do you see this aisle space right here? Look at this color with the aisle space. What one has the green glass? There's one that's very noted for, if it's got the green glass, it's going to be a hard no for me all of a sudden, but not super, I don't think I'm a super big fan of whatever they have for their media. Still missing some stuff, I think. T-Jet! T-Jet with the 5, thank you. 2 streams, baby. Oh, wait, hang on, I gotta check it. Oh, dang! Okay, so we had that big volume spike. And then, we're trading right around there. Still not a bad day. Look at how the seats fold into the floor. All right, I'll check it out in a little bit. Let's get some windows done first, and then we'll look at it. Stop it. Is that the back seats fold into the floor, or the front seats fold in, like the front captain's chairs? I'm assuming the back ones fold into the floor. On the Pacifica, the captain's chairs fold into the floor, and that was just like, oh, dang. Stop it. Stop it with all your practical family features. It starts sliding and then it stops, so it's like real close to that seal. I got a little bit extra soap in my bottle. Did you buy a new ride? I'm looking. Yeah. They just... Okay, so that I've had for a while, and it's all paid off. And we got the Blazer last summer. And really, I'm fine with, like, I'm not looking to swap out the Explorer. But we noticed going to Chicago and other things, when you have a kid, all of a sudden you have no space. Super chat. Oh dang, I put some dip in it. Thank you. Hang on one second. I gotta grab my stool so this works out. Stool, and do we have some? Yes, we do. Okay, cool. We got a few. We'll be able to cover up the rest of this. Fast M with a 2. Thank you. Put some dip in it. Thank you. I've been adding so much on the dips. I got too not enough, too much chips for these dips. What do you think about Reno? Leave the kids at home? But he's 5 months. You can't just leave him at home. I haven't used Reno. I'm not sure. Buy a Bentley, or Rolls Royce Cullinan. How do you say that? Betayaga? I can't even pronounce it. But yeah, maybe next year we'll get the Bentley, right? We need to sell a little bit more ceramic, I think, for that. I'm curious about the VW. Cheers to the dude that suggested the VW. That's so far the most competitive thing that's a little different, but we'll see. I gotta look up the Kia too. The Telluride and the other one that I keep forgetting. Oh, the Hyundai. So we can look at those. Kia's got a good warranty now, though. I don't know about Hyundai. Hyundai? Hi, Hyundai? Hey, Hyundai? How much room do you want in a car? Pretty much mid-size SUV is fine. Like, Explorer size is great. I don't have any problems with the Explorer. So honestly, the only thing that would keep me from getting another Explorer is the fact that I've already had the Explorer, which is kind of dumb. But then we saw the seats fold into the floor in the middle, and then the vacuum, and then the family cam, and we're like, goddamn, we're parents. Those look pretty handy. Why is this bubbly? This shouldn't be bubbly like that. Oh, is this the first time we used this sprayer today? That doesn't make sense. Oh my god, it is. It's the first time we used the sprayer today. Still emptying out air. Jag? Oh, I like the F pace. But I think Jag and Range Rover slide on the little bit too much and still impractical scale. Could be wrong, though. The Jag is unreliable. But if it's brand new, it should be good, right? I wouldn't buy a used one. This is fun. You guys are helping me. I need to have you guys do more research for me while I'm tinting. All SUVs should come with family cam options. Dude, that is super handy. Yeah, because we have the mirror, and you have the, like, I'm looking in my mirror to that mirror, so it's like it makes whatever you're seeing, like, really small. Not the most practical. New Range Rover? That would be nice. The Explorers I saw in person with the captain's chairs. I really like the new ones. Ew. Somebody bought a Range Rover and it was in the shop 30 times in a year. At that point, like, don't they just replace the car? I mean, and there is the, like, oh, well, as long as they give you a rental, but that can get old because you don't, it's yours, but it's not. So it's like you're always kind of like on your way out of that, of whatever your rental is. It's like living in a hotel. They should replace it or just throw away the brand. That's an I want to see them throw away the brand. They're like, our board meeting, corporate board meeting. Here we go. All right. Well, we're having a real problem with one of our vehicles. It's been back 30 times this year. And they're like, well, I guess we got to take the brand and shoot it. Take it out back and shoot it. Done. They're like, or we could replace the car. Nah. Not good enough. Not good enough. I like it. Sounds good. You know, one thing I also want to find while you guys are doing research for me is I really want to find a better rolly stool. So we gotta be able to put bigger casters on it, like rollerblade casters or something that's gonna slide better on this floor. I already found cabinets I think that I want. But cabinets, we're still going to wait a little bit before we order them. I've pretty much decided that the way to kind of fix this is just to take some big old cabinets and just put them right there. Like cabinet toolbox thingy. Should be pretty cool. Quit telling him to buy a Chrysler product. We don't want him to go broke from fixing it. Volvo? Isn't Volvo expensive? That along with VW, those are brands I don't look into. I don't know why. I'm too Motor City conditioned, where we have the big three around here, and you just don't see them very often. So I don't think about them. You know, I was surprised. Did they discontinue the 200? Because I went to the Chrysler site, and there was the 300 and a bunch of minivans. And I was surprised. I was like, wow, really? Oh, shit. That is all they are now, aren't they? But I didn't realize they got rid of the 200. I thought they still had that around. I just haven't seen a new one in a little while. No wonder there's far fewer 300s now. They did get rid of it. It's so out of place. It's just minivan, 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 minivan. And then a 200. Or a 300, sorry. Ow, fuck. Jag, Range Rover, be prepared to fix them. I've heard, but I like to stay oblivious. It's like, no, is it really that bad? And then you get one and it is, and you're like, oh. I think we're going to lease, though. I'm not opposed to leasing. Because vehicles have become so interchangeable after, like phones. They're so, like, 2 or 3 years, and then you really want to get into something else. So I got the Explorer because I was doing so much driving. And now I just don't do as much driving. So I don't necessarily need to buy. New Challenger. Oh, that's a perfect baby mobile right there. We'll just carry less things. We'll just make more trips faster, right? Is $240 too cheap for a ceramic? Well, my baseline film is $240. So yes, I'd be hella sketched out at $240. Hella. So sketched out, I use the word hella. Okay, so hopefully we didn't cut this one as far out. Subaru! Oh my god, I forgot about Subaru too. God damn, you guys are just reminding me of so many brands I didn't even look at. The tin is looking hella good. There we go. Bringing it around. Back to the tint stream. Do we tint here? Or do we just talk about minivans all day? I mean, we gotta do something while we're tinting, right? Sub I love. Thank you. Subaru's really good. Subaru's a fun brand. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Whatever we get is definitely all-wheel drive. I don't buy anything without it now. You're stupid to not in Michigan. I was we really didn't have much snow this year either. It's been steadily decreasing. But still, for those handful of times out of the year, if it's like a daily driver or something, yeah, put all-wheel drive on it. I saw somebody just go into their own neighborhood off the street after it had already been plowed and they got stuck. You're saying I could have made more coin? Oh, off the ceramic? Oh, for sure. So, I mean, there's prices that vary all over the place. And nobody directly knows. Like they'll call around. So it might have been out of whoever's budget, but when you're going with, like, the way that a good way to have your film pricing model structured is you want your entry, you want a mid-grade, and then you want your premium. So most people kind of gravitate towards the middle because it should be like the most bang for your buck type of thing, which I feel carbon is. It's economic. It holds a lot of, like, it's got carbon, so you're not going to get any type of color change down the road. And then it comes with the added benefit of some IR heat rejection. So you get this good mix and match of a lot with your films, or with carbon. Ceramic is like when you want to go all out. I want the best of the best, and I don't care how much it costs type of mentality. It's carbon and then ceramic. So, to clear up any confusion, it's that's a hella good pricing analysis. Everything is hella good today. Hope you guys are having a hella good time. Okay, so like tint is polyester and coloring. It's really what it is. So you also have heat rejection or absorption or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like more like a heat sponge. So dye is just the cheapest way to make window film. You get your polyester, you dye it, boom, there you go. Now there's different grades of dye and there's different qualities of it, and that goes with carbon and ceramic. But dye is pretty much just colored polyester, and it doesn't have any natural heat rejection properties to it. So up from that, you have carbon and then ceramic. So ceramic has the best heat rejection properties, but it's still got to get its coloring in one way or another. So ceramic in itself will only go so dark. So they have to either they add dye or they add carbon. So you'll sometimes have a hybrid between carbon and dye. But it doesn't really impact the overall, well, it would impact the overall number, but it's like, still depends on how the manufacturer wants to tailor their film. So in the middle, you have carbon, and carbon is naturally black. So you get your coloring and your heat rejection all from that, and it's just a more economical way to make the film. So realistically, you might end up seeing carbon completely replace dye down the road, but they have to make those particles really small. So if you have a cheaper dye, those carbon particles are going to be a little bit bigger, and then they're going to introduce a little bit more haze in the final product. So on sunny days, you're going to be driving through a milky cloud, but you have a little bit of heat rejection. So the better ones, you still get good heat rejection, but they'll be clear. Man, just exposed the tinted. There's a lot of little claims that they'll say, but as far as like practical things, that's really what it comes down to. They're not any more optically clear. I wish they were, but they're not. They don't look like if you have a carbon job versus a dye job. If you're looking at the car, it's like you're not going to be able to tell what's what. I'd like to say that you could, but it's really about the heat rejection. The inside will have like some different characteristics, sometimes on the look of it. The C2 carbon that I'm using, it's got an interesting, like, really vibrant pop to it. How can you get Geo? mytintstuff.com, or go to GeoShield. If you Google GeoShield or GeoShield USA, you can get in contact with them. They got a shop. They sell it on. Set you up as a dealer. Have you heard of Premium Guard? I've seen them floating around the groups. From what I understand, it comes from Malaysia, but I don't know much about it. Just that they were active in trying to promote it in the group. See, 60 degrees do this weird thing where when you go try and cut that, just that sliver of an edge, sometimes it'll start rolling the whole thing. 30 degree will like slide right in there. Just try and cut it. Just try and cut it. Would you cut, please? I just don't want to go too far. There we go. Just getting that sliver. Sometimes you get it, sometimes it just doesn't want to cut. This one goes here. So we're taking a little bit longer than we normally do to do the doors, but it's for a good cause. It's because they're frameless. So give them a more individual cut. Cutting them together wouldn't have been a bad idea, but sometimes they don't necessarily match up quite as nicely. So, like I said before, it's just toss-up. Sometimes they work out really well, and sometimes they don't. Who else does cash for windshields? I don't blame you. I like Premium Guard way more than Lexan. Can I just leave that there? Well, it depends on like what it's made out of. So if it's just another dyed window film, or like, is it a carbon? Is it a dye? Is it a ceramic? Are they making it out of Malaysia? I think it comes from a company there. Lexan treated me like trash. Well, they don't have the budget. Like it's funny how this works out, but like their film is very cheap, so they have very little margin on any of their films. So whatever they're making is like going into more inventory and keeping overhead, but they're focused on moving a ton of film, and I don't think that's necessarily the right approach if you want to have a long-term good company relationship business. So it's not a bad way to get started. It's just long-term. Oh, somebody asked, what's a good percentage for side windows driving out in dark country roads? Well, you're not really going to be able to see out of them very well with dark roads. So 35 or 20. 20 is going to be a little on the darker side, but should be pretty comfortable. If you're backing up, you might have to roll them down to see down a long dark driveway if you don't have a backup camera or something. Yay, we got it. Good deal. Does 36 cover most windshields? Yes. Yes, it'll cover most back windows and most full front windshields. There'll be like a handful, like a old Caravan actually. Back to minivans. Will not cover that. Watching live on a laptop is a whole different experience. More screen! Okay, so this one is not too bad. It's a pretty stubby back window with a decent amount of space on the inside to play with. So the only, I'd say, somewhat unique thing about the bottom is the way that they curve that brake light, because they have that dip in there. Just had a ceramic job and I charge $240, some charge $100. It's pretty cutthroat. But there can always be an outlier. There'll be like, what I found is there are plenty of shops that compete solely on price. And they're all pretty cutthroat. But if you put a little bit more into your business, so generally cheaper shops don't put much into their business. It's a longer road, but it can pay off. Illinois sucks. Maybe you guys, Chicago. Chicago's a big city. Chicago's expensive. Just moved to Michigan. I got plenty of... Oh, go out to Detroit and you tell me how that is. Michigan is not sunshine and rainbows. There's plenty of people. Like, we have all the same problems anybody else does. We do have a decent population size, though. Chicago is ghetto. It's you have your nicer parts of town, and then you have your not so nicer parts of town. Chicago is way bigger and cooler than Detroit. So much there in that city. We also have the most COVID cases. Well, if you're going to be good at something. Chicago's crazy to drive into. I was so surprised. I hadn't, you got the train that runs into the city. And then just the sheer amount of infrastructure in that city. It's just crazy. It's much more interesting. Yeah, there's different neighborhoods everywhere. Some are nice, some are not so nice. There's areas of Detroit that's really nice, really cool, and then there's a lot of reputation. But Yeah, everywhere you'll have your own struggles and problems and competition. It's the same all over the place. There was a shop that I tinted for. They would complain that they were on the wrong side of the road. They were down a mile from where they should be, and they're missing so much business because of that. And it's like, ay, ay, ay. Oof, that was a brutal story. That sounds sad. Okay, back window. I should take this off here too, because we are done with this door, we're done with that door, we're done with all the doors. So we're gonna let them sit, we're gonna let them dry. What? The fuse! Gotta make it out the mud. Thank you for the 2. Kevin. Oh, it's from a song. I didn't know the red. Matt is already out of the mud. Maybe I'll listen to that one after stream. Super chat, another one. Washington, what's up, buddy? How long should a 2021 Toyota RAV4 take with tint, including the front windshield? It depends. It probably, with the full windshield, probably take me 2.5 to like 3 hours. RAV4, does that have that funny back window? Or is it just a static one? Oh, not bad. Yeah, these aren't bad. Oh, yeah, this wouldn't be bad. These quarters would probably be a little funny unless they give you a border. Everything's bordered up, no quarters, stuff like that. Yeah, probably 2.5 hours. That'd be easy. I see you broke 80. Didn't you have like 70K last week? No, we've been at 78 for a little while. I think it's like a little bit, but not substantially. Yeah, we hit 80. I tell you, live streaming makes that whole ramp go real slow. So if I started doing Amazon mirror videos, I'd probably grow a lot faster. But it would be centered around mirrors. That's like, I think, my best performing video right now. Took me 4.5 to do that RAV4. Oh, well, don't beat yourself up about it. If there's like, when I say should, it's like a good quick time that you'd want to aim for. But, I mean, hell, if it turned out good, 4.5, it's a little longer, but, I mean, it's nothing I haven't done before. Oh, yeah, we don't have much room on this. I'm starting to have flashbacks of the other one. This is weird. So I did a... It's weird compared to the one that I did not too long ago. So I did a... What was it called? I did a Mercedes AMG similar to this one. Oh my god, there's not much space back here. And it had a different style third brake light that was clipped to the top, and you had to drop it down. This one doesn't have the drop down. No. No, we're not gonna do Play bar. Where do we put you? I sensed you over there. There it is. Took me 5 to do an Impreza. Yeah, those quarters aren't fun. It'll be a dumb time sink your first time, especially. I still don't like doing them. But we'll do them. We'll spend more time sometimes on those quarter windows than the rest of the car. They're throwing them on everything, too. It's the latest trend. If it's an SUV, you can almost guarantee that they're going to put them on half. And then some trucks, a couple of them have it. A lot of cars have them, too. Oh, it cut out. What car was that? Asked about tinting my something. Okay. This is not super fun. I gotta tell you, trying to get back here with these in the way, they don't go down. I mean, I think you could probably fold the seats down. And for whatever reason, putting my head very close to the metal cuts out my Bluetooth for half a second. So I'm starting to miss some comments right now, which is super fun. So let me clean this off real quick. We'll get this in. So this is one reason why I don't reverse roll. I know you can fold the seats down, but then you're like, there's already not very much room in here. And when you have a GoPro on your head, you have even less room. Yeah. So we're gonna do little. We'll get it in there. Just watch. Here, let's put this down. See? Look at that. We can slide it in there. We got plenty of space. Exactly. Just like take it apart and put it back together or something. Yeah. Just draw some circles and then draw the rest of the owl. You know, just do it or something. How hard could it be? It's just stickers. Some Mercedes do fold down, some don't. These ones do. But, again, then I have to climb on top of a seat. Why do that when I can do this? Watch, here we go. See? Just over one headrest, over two headrests, and then just get it in there. And then the headrests are supportive of what you're doing. See? They're holding the film, keeping it flat. I just can't see anything. I couldn't reverse this one. Not anything that I would feel confident in doing. So if you can, good job. Like, that's cool. The problem for me is, like, starting to butt up to the side panels and stuff like that, so. I think it's a much cleaner approach to tinting than doing what I'm doing right now. Like, it's a more methodical way of doing it, just than peeling it and just kind of, like, manhandling the film. getting it into place. It's a lot more, like, it's simplified, but the amount of filling, it's just like you're kind of like juggling. So until you get familiar with that, it's kind of chaotic. But with reverse rolling, it's very like just like. So let's make sure we're all covered. Oh yeah. Hang on, my headset totally disconnected from the computer too because I'm in the car. Let me set that back up in just a second. Until then, please stand by. So you can't really necessarily see what you're doing very well, but you know, if you've done these types of cars before, you're just like, yeah, it's just swipe this way, swipe that way, and then swipe this way. Whoa! And then we take this guy. And then we do this. Whoa! And then we should be done. See, that wasn't hard. Just very cramped. Nick, answer the phone! Oh, Florida. I'm not picking up for Florida. Sorry, somebody from out of state. We'll talk after. There we go. Now I can hear you guys again. 180 wall. Ah, they were doing that yesterday. Somebody doesn't want to go up 180. That's okay. They'll hold it down for only so long. People know. More pressure builds. Sucker pops. To the moon. Or sideways again, I don't know. Power hour. Is it closed yet? Oh, shit. We're only at 3? Oh, wow. We still got a full hour of trading. I was really disappointed that there was a lack of lit up buildings over the weekend. That was really exciting, the first one. Everybody's like, oh, look, their building's lit up. They're working at 3 a.m. So we'll squeegee this out. We'll see how she turned out. I don't want to jinx myself. Has anybody ever left a gun in the car? Yeah. Yeah, and some really dumb spots. I don't mind if you leave a firearm in the car. I won't touch it. Just don't leave it pointed at the driver. That's all. So there were like 2 times that I really remember. So there was one. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Hopefully the GoPro didn't just like shit itself. Good? Oh, the GoPro's pretty durable. So, there was one who just left it squished in between the seat and the center console. Just like jammed it in there. And then there was another one where there was like a handful where like you move the seat back and then you move it. No, you move it forward to free up some room in the back. And then you move it back and then there's just like a gun sitting there. And you're just kind of like, oh. But there was like a Corvette that I did, and it was just like crammed in back behind the seat. Just like pointed towards the driver. And I'm like, can you not? Has anybody stayed to watch you tint? Yeah. Yeah, all the time. I got a lot of people that wait. Not necessarily to watch, but more just like they didn't get a ride. Which is actually a good reason why you want a shop versus tinting at home without a waiting area. It'll open up your client base a little bit more because somebody can sit there and wait for front doors rather than trying to arrange a ride, which can be a pain in the ass. Ooh, dang. This looks pretty good. There's just this little bit here we gotta fix. It's like wedged on the seal. So I gotta make sure that's gonna lay down. I've given it some time to dry, so I don't know if I have to let it dry more or if it's just pushed up weird and I can heat it. Especially if you have no friends. Dang, dude, why you gotta get so personal? Alright, I'm gonna let a little heat sit on this. Just that little corner. It's pressed up against the rubber, and it doesn't seem like it's wanting to tuck in. Oh, I think we'll get it. Alright, we're gonna let this sit with a little bit of heat. Just opened up my own business, been watching a lot of your videos. Thanks for giving me motivation. Hell, dude, that's awesome. Way to do it. Glad that these were encouraging. That's cool to hear. Takes a lot of work. A lot of hustle on your end. Good job. Okay, so we have basically everything done. Except for the windshield, which we are going to cut and shrink right now. We're making good time, though. Everything's going really well. Pretty happy. Pretty happy with this. So we need 50. We need 50 for the windshield. Don't forget to unlatch the doors. Thank you. Yes, that would be bad. We don't want to do that. What film did you start off? That's been a long road. There was like Lumar, but that was like tinting for my dad's shop at the time. Oh, okay, I guess we'll just let that sit like that for now. Okay, so carbon, we're gonna put this back. I wanna keep that inner. I'm gonna forget about it, but I wanna keep it and then throw it away eventually because we forgot about it. So this is my 50. Top shelf. Makes it more expensive. Do I like this better than Lumar? Yes and no. So there's different reasons to like different films. Lumar, what do I want to say about Lumar? So Lumar ATC was like definitely a really good film that I used. It shrank really well, it worked really well. I think all that really comes down to Lumar is like, it's just kind of overpriced. I don't want to say it is overpriced, but it's definitely more expensive and hasn't made a lot of leaps and bounds on the technology side. So if you just want like a good solid film, Lumar's good, but now you have like other Guari-based products too that are really good and a little bit more competitive, I think. So I think Lumar like slid a little easier. I like that for installation, and it shrank really well too. But if you put them side by side, years down the road, which one's going to last longer? I think it'll be really close, so it doesn't matter as much. So you might as well go with something that's a little bit more economical, especially because the way that Lumar is oversaturating some markets, I think. At least down south they are. But good brand. They'll take care of their people too, which is nice to hear. Lumar actually pays for removal. So they are more expensive, but like if you had a complete film failure, they'll pay for the removal and the reinstallation. They'll basically pay the full ticket again. It's not everybody's going to do that. Geo doesn't do that either. So but you have your minimums with a company like that for good reason. Yeah, we should probably trim that part off too, huh? Gonna use that to describe film. Dyed equals Smirnoff, carbon, Crown Royal, ceramic, Johnny Walker. For all the alcoholics getting window tint. You know, I think what was one of the most disturbing, funny things that I heard is like people that outright tell you that they like to drink and drive, so they want to go a little lighter so they don't get pulled over at night. They're like, well, I like to do a little drinking and then drive home. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't tell me that. So let's go with 50 on the windshield. Okay. Just tell me you like the shape. I mean, I guess it's better that they're not doing double 5 in that, but there are probably people that do that. Yeah, I like this windshield. I need to figure out how to remember comments better, because I do this thing where I listen to one and then I don't respond and I listen to the next, because like I was waiting to hear both and then I forget what the first one was. Do you get the darkest but legal? Not as much anymore, but that definitely was like a real common question. Like, I want to go dark, but I don't want it to be illegal. And it's like, well, the unfortunate thing is anything you do could fall in that range without a doctor's note, so... This one is very straightforward. Can you get a doctor's note if you really don't need one? I think the question is, should you? Should you get a doctor's note if you don't really need one? I don't know. That's up to the doctor. There's no, like, hard rules there. It's all, you know, it's probably like getting a license for growing. There's a lot of gray area there on people that'll write scripts and not. What is this volume for mitochondria? Is it really still a very light volume? There's an interesting volume spike. I want to check it. 176. Oh, it's falling back down a little bit. 5 million. Oh, wow, that is tiny. Wow, and it made that run on small volume. Cool. It's kind of funny, though, because when it goes down on small volume, it's like, oh, that was weak. And then it goes up on small volume, and it's like, whoa, that went up on small volume. It's only a matter of time. How do you know the comments? Psychic. Or I have a robotic text-to-speech thing literally reading every comment that you guys type in the chat on my headset. One or the two. I'll let you decide. I hear all. Absolutely. Unless I'm talking, and then it's hard to hear and talk at the same time. I'm just single lane only. I try to pay attention, but it's still. And then, like, somebody will ask a question, and I'll hear it, and I'll be like, oh, that's a good one to respond to. And then somebody else will ask something else or say something, and then I'll listen to the second one, and I'll totally forget what the first one was. Not intentional. There's just a lot going on. I've gotten pretty good at it, though. This used to, like, wear me out. I used to be done with a stream, and I was just, like, mentally exhausted. I was like, oh, my God, I need a breather. But now it's like, yeah, little robot talks in my head all day. What of it? It's not as bad. Still gets a little fatiguing. Not near what it used to be. You just get used to doing it. You can multitask. It comes with practice, for sure. Do you carry a red dot as self-defense? Yes. No. No, not really. There's some people that always have them on hand. I don't. It goes in my belt. I think I'd lose it if I kept it in my pocket. What happens if you don't shrink the back window? It's not so good looking at the end of it. Yeah, I'm not one of them. I just never did. They're handy. They're always handy to keep around. I just always put it in my tool belt because I lose it I have the spots that it goes in. Has anybody told you your tint job is shit and need to redo it? I don't know if they've quite said it like that, but definitely. I've definitely had to redo windows. So there could be like a lot of little reasons to redo windows. And there's stuff that could be what you consider on the border, where it's like there's always going to be some type of imperfection, some type of flaw that you're not 100% happy with. It's just like the way it is. You do whatever you can to try and get it as close to perfect as you can, but you got to realize that, you know, if you ask in a Facebook group if there's any such thing as a perfect tint job, everybody will tell you no. But then nobody will really show you their imperfections, right? So it can be, it's tricky. You do as good as you can. Gotta understand that it's an aftermarket process. There will be mistakes. But yeah, redoing windows is just part of it too. Has somebody rolled down the windows right away? Oh, for sure. And that should be okay. Every once in a while it's not. But if that happens, I still redo it. Because, I mean, you give the guidelines, please don't roll the windows down. Even if you tape the switches, people are still people, and something might happen. So, put yourself in those shoes. If you just paid X amount of dollars for a window tint and you accidentally rolled it down, there, let's get this guy. I mean, you wouldn't want to pay to have it redone either, so it's just you take care of people. How long did you run the business out of your garage? Not very long. It was not very long before the city did not like it. Probably because of a neighbor. As far as I could tell, it was because of a neighbor. So that was the only reason we really moved out of there. Especially, we did it very quickly, so I wish I had a little bit more time to look around at spaces, but I couldn't find anything. And like, to me, it was one, like, it was March. It was like beginning of all the lockdowns. So that was definitely not fun. Because most auto businesses were reasonably slow. And nobody knew what it was going to look like when they opened back up. Turned out to be overly busy when they opened back up, but... And then the other thing is, like, I'm trying to still make videos and stuff. Still trying to do the live streams. So if I stop doing live streams for an extended period of time, like, that hurts the channel. And then you have to kind of, like, reset and get that momentum. YouTube's very momentum based. So I was pretty set on, like, jumping into space to at least keep the streams going and then figuring it out as we went. So it was a good push. There we go. That was a crazy time. Luckily, I haven't had any complaints, and my city's pretty small. That's good. It's allowed in, like, I'm pretty sure there's still a place or two that do it in my city. Why they're allowed to is probably just because they didn't get any complaints. And every city's different, just like every state has different laws. Like every city is going to have their own rules and strictness and whatever. So I don't know. I can't tell you how yours is going to be versus mine. I just know I didn't think it was going to be a problem, and then it was. But, you know, it's worked out. I'm able to bring in some extra business, so that's like the silver lining, but expenses are more, so pros and cons. We can continue the show. I disconnected my headset from my phone for a minute. That's probably not smart. I forget I'm still a business sometimes. But that's what Nick's for. Nick answers phones when he can. And he's been awesome. He booked this job. Okay, cool. So we have it all cleaned. Now we're ready to install. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spray, we're gonna squeegee, we're gonna install. What a plan. Do you do vinyl? No. I've dabbled, but it would be kind of like an extra thing that would take up like it just doesn't make sense for me to do unless I have a vinyl guy. So like I've messed around with like some graphics kits and stuff, but I've never done like a full roof wrap or full hood or anything. I'm pretty sure I could do it. It wouldn't take me that long to learn how to do it. It's just like then trying to get the business for it and like handle both. You know what? I'm gonna spray this a little better. Has somebody left the car but took the keys? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely happened. They drop off a car and then they leave. And then they're the person that doesn't answer their phone. And then you're trying to get a hold of them for like an hour, and they're like, oh, hi, what's up? And you're like, hey, you have the keys? And they're like, oh, my God. And your whole day is completely thrown off. Doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. And then I've also left customer keys in somebody else's car and then delivered a car, and then keys go, bye-bye. That's a real fun one. When you ship somebody else's keys accidentally, ooh, that is not a good day. I had one that was like, thank God, what a coincidence. It was somebody that was working in Detroit and somebody that lived in Detroit. So they just met up. But yeah, I left like keys to a charger and like something else, and then it was like keys to an Audi, and I left them in a charger. Damn push buttons. And then shipped the car. They were in the cup holder. Customer gets a call, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm in Detroit now. And it was like, oh no. Not good. Not only do I have no time to go run to Detroit to go get some keys, but that is a long way to go to get some keys. But it's so easy to do when you do a bunch of cars. You just in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. You need a system. And the problem is when you go from shop to shop, every shop has like a little bit of a different system. So, yeah, again, that gets real easy to mess up. Okay, so we're going to try what we did earlier today. on this full carbon windshield. So I'm always, every time I do a reverse roll on a windshield, it's always like mental practice to try and make it as perfect as I can. So we're going to do something a little bit different. Not much, just a little bit. Dropped a Honda key and it shattered. What? Dang, I didn't know they could shatter. Okay, so I squeegee the outside of the reverse roll on that section, roll it all up. It helps it with shifting. And then last time, I got to about here, and then I did this. So there's still like dry shrink prep, dryer sheet, whatever it's still touching the glass on the outside, so it's still dirty, right? And you're rolling it up together. So sometimes I have like a little bit of speckling where in areas that I kind of pull the film back from the windshield and put it back in, like little mistake, maybe, trying to unroll it. So I want to do everything I can to minimize it. And what I was thinking was trying to like lift the film off the glass, clean underneath it, clean the film, but that takes like a lot of time and effort. And if you don't have glass boards, that's not really something that's, you got to get about your day. You want to clean as job possible, but you don't want it to take forever. So I'm spraying the film off prior to rolling it up on that second half, because this is the part where like the film might fall back the most for me right now. So you can see it kind of just flops a little bit. So I'm doing what I can, trying to keep this clean, trying to keep this even. It worked out really good on the last one that I did, so. Let's tuck that down a little bit more. Looking pretty good. Let's give it a freshen up. Nice. Got this big old mirror kind of sitting half in the way. Not too bad. Then turn it this way. Yeah. Line it up. Trying to get it to slide. Starting to lock up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Hotter weather really sucks for that. When you get the hot days, your glass starts freezing on you real quickly. Sometimes more soap doesn't fix that very well. Okay. Looking pretty good. Make sure all the gaps are covered. We're doing 50. So the thing about 50 is that it is much harder to see that all your gaps are covered. So give it like a real thorough inspection around all of this. Because once it's locked down and you got that little hairline gap, you're like, dang it. So serious. So squeegee it out a little bit. Sometimes it'll still walk on you. Squeegee it back the other way. Film's funny. You'll get film, like you put it on the glass, it'll freeze, you squeegee it out, and then it'll start walking. It's like sometimes the weirdest thing, but is 50 much darker than 70? Definitely darker. It is noticeably darker. 70, you can hardly tell that a windshield is really tinted. 50, you definitely can tell. 50, you'll be able to see in, but you get a lot more like reflections from outside things, like the sky. Whoa. Good, 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 good. All right. Let's go over it just one more quick time. Seemed like it was going pretty well. Hopefully this is... I mean, we just did a ceramic windshield this morning. So I don't want to say the cleanest windshield and then totally dog on the job we did earlier today. But that's what we're trying to do. We're always trying to up ourselves. So if we did the cleanest job we just did this morning, we'll do an even cleaner job right now. And every job after. We're always trying to improve that much more. What temperature should you keep the heat gun at? Just turn it up as high as it'll go. The way you control your heat is distance. So if you pull it back a little farther, it's not going to heat up the window as fast. Ooh, dang. I think we may have done a pretty good job here, but don't want to jinx myself yet. Let's look it over. Ooh. My heat gun hits 1300, but I feel like that's too much. No, it's not. I mean, if it helps you to keep it slower, then do that. Do whatever's going to be more helpful to you. But for what most people will do is exactly what I said. Just your heat gun, you can control that heat with distance. So when you really want to move quick, you get that heat gun closer. And then if you want to slow down, you just keep it farther away. Most heat guns could always get hotter and blow more air. You know, I gotta say, let me move this towel out of the way. But I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good. That, dang, you guys gotta do that from now on. Swear to God. When you reverse roll your windshield, take that sprayer and let this side hang, spray it. Looks so nice. I think that's it. I think that's the secret. Secret sauce to a reversed rolled. A sushi rolled windshield. Do we need to? No, we don't really. On the inside we will. But right here. Let's get that. Down these sides. Dang. So we got a little finger there. We'll press that guy out. It's just in the middle. And then we'll wipe off the rest of it. Right there. We'll check it over. So this definitely was not like the most challenging of windshields, but we're 2 for 2 right now on that little spray thing. Just spraying it off. Yeah, That looks really, really nice. Good deal. Alrighty. That's pretty much that. Got that little guy right there. Just want to make sure that he's going to lay down. He's had some time to dry. What you thinking, bud? What you thinking? There she goes. A little bit extra pressure. Nice. Make sure all my edges are down. Do you offer any hands-on classes? Not yet. I think people have given up asking. It's been really hard with extra time. Like, we had the baby in November, and then it's like, still, it was really challenging trying to get back to like a full schedule. So, and then we got busy season right now, so just haven't even, it's a lot of work that goes into just pre-planning it. So these doors, they shift up and down. So I'm going to make sure that that's locked down. Oh, that's real tight there. And then this is where you cross your fingers a little bit. You pull it, let it drop. And you got to do that with all of them. So the little disclaimer still stands about rolling them up and down, but I mean, what you don't want to do is have them peel just from opening and closing. You can't prevent that. You still got to be a functioning car. Nobody wants to drive with their doors open. Or maybe they do. I don't know. Do people want to drive with their doors open? Look at that. Ooh. I like it. Good. We're looking pretty good. Everything seems like it's pretty all set, right? Yes, yes, yes. Give this one more little swipe here. It's a double. That's one reason we tucked them down a little farther too on this. Do the doors first. You should be able to roll them down right away. But I'd suggest like giving the doors a little bit extra time to tack up. So if you do those first, they'll have longer to tack down. Make sure, you know, just that extra half hour or so. Whew. Look at that. That looks good. That looks really good. A little bit later on the front with that 20. We talked a little bit about this with the seats. Light color interior is going to make everything look a little bit lighter. So this is 50 on the windshield. so you can clearly see those seats. This type of lighting is going to make the whole windshield kind of look a little foggy because it's meant to be an overcast. But we have 20 on the front, so you can kind of still see that lighter interior. If it was darker, it'd look a lot more black, and then completely blacked out on the back. This looks good. I'm very happy with this. Ooh, sweet. Woo! Well, that was a fun one. Everything went pretty well on this. That was nice to see. Nothing too crazy about this car. So if you get one of these, you know what to look out for now. Let's pop back to the stream window. All right, so big shout out to some super chats. YouTube, I'm going to keep saying this. YouTube doesn't show me my most recent super chats or the ones from earlier on the stream. They used to give me a big list. They don't do that right now. I got to figure out where else I can find a list. So big shout out to Washington and the Fuse. And then also, I know we had T-Jet in there. Oh, and Fast M. Thank you guys so much for all the super chats. I really appreciate the support. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Hope you had a good time. Hope you learned something. And then we will have another stream for sure tomorrow. I don't know exactly when, but we have some appointments tomorrow, so I'm going to be streaming at least one of those. So y'all have a good day, and I will catch you tomorrow. Goodbye.